Human babies are the weakest newborns on Earth. They cannot walk. They cannot hunt. They cannot survive alone. For the first year of life, they are completely dependent on their parents for everything. Compare this to other animals. A baby horse can stand within minutes of birth. A baby deer can run within hours. A baby chimpanzee can cling to its mother's fur from day one. But human babies? They can't even hold up their own heads for the first few months. So here's the question that has puzzled scientists for centuries: if human babies are so helpless, how did humans become the dominant species on this planet? The answer will change how you see human weakness forever. Pause. Let's start with the facts. Human babies are born incredibly premature compared to other mammals. A baby horse is born with legs strong enough to run. A baby kangaroo is born tiny, but it can crawl into its mother's pouch and nurse immediately. But human babies are born with brains that are only 25% of their adult size. They cannot focus their eyes properly for the first few weeks. They cannot regulate their own body temperature. They cannot even roll over by themselves for the first 4 months. From a survival perspective, human babies are a disaster. In the wild, a helpless baby like this would be eaten within hours. And yet, humans have conquered every continent on Earth. We've built cities, created civilizations, and even gone to space. How is this possible? The answer lies in something called the obstetric dilemma. Pause. You see, humans have two evolutionary pressures that are in direct conflict with each other. First, we have big brains. Over millions of years of evolution, our brains got bigger and bigger. Bigger brains mean more intelligence, better problem solving, and better survival. But second, we walk upright. Walking on two legs requires a narrow pelvis. A narrow pelvis means a narrow birth canal. So here's the problem: how do you get a big-brained baby through a narrow birth canal? The solution? Birth the baby early. Human babies are born when their heads are still small enough to fit through the birth canal. But this means they're born with brains that are severely underdeveloped. A baby horse is born with a brain that's almost fully developed. A baby chimpanzee is born with a brain that's about 40% of its adult size. But human babies? Their brains are only 25% developed at birth. This is why human babies are so helpless. They're not supposed to be born this early. But evolution had no choice. If human babies stayed in the womb longer, their heads would be too big to pass through the birth canal. The mother would die in childbirth. So evolution made a trade-off: birth the baby early, with a small head, but with a brain that's still mostly undeveloped. But here's where it gets interesting. Pause. This weakness turned out to be humanity's greatest strength. You see, because human babies are born with such underdeveloped brains, they are incredibly plastic. Their brains are like blank slates, ready to be shaped by their environment. A baby horse is born with most of its instincts already programmed. It knows how to stand, how to nurse, how to follow its mother. It doesn't need to learn much. But human babies? They have to learn everything. They have to learn how to see, how to hear, how to move, how to communicate, how to think. And this learning process happens during the most critical period of brain development. From birth to age 5, a human child's brain forms over 1 million new neural connections every second. By age 5, a child's brain has twice as many connections as an adult brain. This is called synaptic plasticity, and it's what allows humans to adapt to almost any environment on Earth. A baby born in the Arctic will learn to survive in the cold. A baby born in the desert will learn to survive in the heat. A baby born in a city will learn to navigate concrete jungles. Other animals are born with fixed instincts. They can only survive in the environment they evolved in. But humans? We can survive anywhere, because our brains are designed to learn. Pause. But there's another reason why human weakness became our strength. And it has to do with something even more fundamental: social connection. Because human babies are so helpless, they require constant care. They can't be left alone. They can't feed themselves. They can't protect themselves. This means that human parents had to work together to raise their children. In most animal species, the mother raises the young alone. The father has no role. But in humans, both parents are needed. The mother nurses the baby. The father hunts for food. Together, they can provide enough resources to keep the baby alive. But it doesn't stop there. Human babies need more than just their parents. They need grandparents, aunts, uncles, and the entire community. This is called cooperative breeding, and it's unique to humans. No other primate has cooperative breeding. Chimpanzees, gorillas, and orangutans all raise their young alone. But humans? We evolved to raise children as a community. And this changed everything. Because when you have a community raising children together, you can share knowledge. Grandparents can pass down survival skills. Parents can teach children how to make tools. The entire community can work together to solve problems. This is how humans developed culture. Other animals learn through instinct and individual experience. But humans? We learn from each other. We build on the knowledge of previous generations. A chimpanzee today uses the same tools that chimpanzees used a million years ago. There's no progress, no innovation, no culture. But humans? We went from stone tools to smartphones in just a few thousand years. And it all started because human babies were so helpless that they required a community to raise them. Pause. But there's one more piece of this puzzle. And it's perhaps the most surprising of all. You see, human weakness didn't just lead to cooperation. It led to something even more powerful: empathy. When you have a helpless baby, you need to care for it. You need to feed it, protect it, comfort it. This requires the ability to understand what the baby needs, even when the baby can't communicate clearly. This is the origin of empathy. Human babies can't tell you what they need. They can only cry. And parents have to figure out: are they hungry? Are they tired? Are they in pain? Are they scared? This constant need to interpret the needs of others is what evolved into our ability to understand other people's emotions. And empathy is what allows humans to work together on a massive scale. Other animals can cooperate, but only in small groups. Chimpanzees can hunt together, but only in groups of 20 or 30. They can't cooperate with chimpanzees from other groups. But humans? We can cooperate with millions of people we've never met. We can build cities with millions of residents. We can create economies with billions of participants. We can even send astronauts to space, relying on the work of thousands of people they'll never meet. All because we evolved the ability to understand what other people need. And it all started with helpless babies. Pause. So let's summarize what we've learned. Human babies are born helpless because of the obstetric dilemma: big brains plus narrow pelvis equals early birth. But this weakness turned out to be our greatest strength. Because human babies are born with underdeveloped brains, they are incredibly adaptable. They can learn to survive in any environment. Because human babies require constant care, they forced humans to develop cooperative breeding. Parents, grandparents, and the entire community had to work together. Because humans had to work together, we developed culture. We learned to pass down knowledge from generation to generation. And because humans had to care for helpless babies, we developed empathy. We learned to understand what other people need, which allowed us to cooperate on a massive scale. So the next time you see a helpless human baby, don't think of it as weak. Think of it as the beginning of everything that makes humans extraordinary. Pause. But here's a question to leave you with. If human weakness was the source of our strength, what does that mean for how we should treat vulnerability in our society today? Do we see weakness as something to be ashamed of? Or do we see it as the starting point for something greater? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to learn more about the hidden survival secrets inside the human body and brain, make sure to subscribe to Survival Archive. Because the truth is, your body is full of evolutionary mysteries. And we're just beginning to uncover them.